Well, let's call this video I Died 4 Times. You know, when you're young, you think you can do anything. You're indestructible. And you don't believe or listen to anybody. When I was in high school, I used to run 5 miles a day. We had a thing in PE class, gym class, where if you were willing to run 5 miles a day, if you did a certain amount of miles, and I don't remember what it was, then you got the rest of the semester off and basically got an A plus. It would take like half the semester to run that. And then it was like you had a spare, which was no school for that particular hour and a half, which was awesome. So I ran the 5 miles. I got off very quickly and got my A, and life was good. Now, after high school, I'd gotten myself a motorcycle. I got myself a Yamaha 450, all black. It was a good looking bike. I think I paid $1,200 for it. I can't remember. I worked at a place called a tree farm, and to earn the money because I didn't have the money for the bike yet. And the tree farm had these trees with long needles on them. And my job was to tilt the tree sideways and hug it. And literally all these spines would poke into your side, your ribs, your arms, and you would just squeeze and start wrapping with the rope. It didn't matter how many shirts you wore, how many pairs of gloves, those damn things just went through. It was literally like 100 needles going into your body at one shot. Needless to say, not too many people wanted that job. But I needed it if I wanted that motorcycle. Took me, I don't know, about 3 months to earn enough money. And I told the boss, the farmer, I told him, I'm out of here once I earn enough money for the bike. And the day I pulled up there with the motorcycle, he looked at me and said, "So you're quitting?" I said, "I'm quitting." He says, "Well, you're a good worker. I'll catch you later." And I bought the bike. And in order to drive a bike, all you had to do was write a beginner's test, put insurance on it, and you were riding it that day. You didn't have to have somebody beside you or anything like a car. So a bike seemed to be made the most sense in order to get some form of transportation. A buddy had called me to go to work, and at that time I'd moved to a job in a golf course where a bunch of rich people golfed, and my pay went up like $3 an hour compared to working for that farmer. And I learned a lot working there. I mean, you never knew how much goes into a golf course and different types of grass and everything they do. It's just that's a science in all itself. But so I get my ride to work. It was my day off. I was coming home, and this accident I'm about to have is going to change my life forever. As they say, a life changing event. This car is in front of me. I'm behind him. Now he goes right a little bit. I thought he was going to turn right. I gunned it and went to go around him. He didn't do that. He turned a little right, then he went left. I hit him in the front wheel well, where the wheel is. The bottom of my leg went where the wheel is, so the bottom didn't get damaged. My femur between the knee and the hip, I crushed it. I broke it. By the way, it's the strongest bone in your body. You're not supposed to break that. And I had heard that you don't come off your bike when you get into an accident. So I hung on the bike with everything I had. I literally bent the handlebars in. The gas tank that was between my legs, my knees had crushed the gas tank. It's amazing how much muscle you have when something's happening. I finally did come off the motorcycle. I popped out, went down the road in front of this Chinese restaurant, and there was these park and cement things, you park in front of, and they have those metal things that come up. Well, they were up. They should have been pounded all the way down, but they weren't. I bounced over top of those. Now, why I didn't spear myself, I'll never know. I had a full face helmet. My head came out of the helmet, and I went down the street with my head out of the helmet. I was wearing a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. My body was nothing but one constant scab, literally. You couldn't see skin anywhere. There was nothing. I had dragged so far down the road. I sat in the hospital in a bed. They had me taped tight. My legs tightened right down. And apparently I had to go to the bathroom, and I don't remember none of this. When they released the straps, apparently I was crying in severe pain while I was trying to urinate. And during that week, I was in that bed like that in a hallway. I wasn't even in a room. Um, I died apparently 4 times, and they brought me back. The trauma my body was going through was unbelievable. I was in a coma for almost a month, 3.5 weeks. I don't remember nothing in those 3.5 weeks. When I woke up, I had tubes everywhere in my nose, my arms. I mean, they were pumping morphine into me. I mean, and that's good stuff. um, it was very scary at that time. And it took me forever to heal. Now, you got to understand, I was a young man. I wasn't old then. And I think it was 3 months by the time I got out of bed into a wheelchair. And that was the hardest thing I ever did, trying to push myself into that wheelchair. 5 months, I'm still in the hospital at this time. I was finally getting to the point where I could get on crutches a little bit. I think when I got to 6 months, they finally were able to send me home. And they were predicting I would be in there for 9 months. Instead, I was only in there for 6. So, because I was young and because I healed quickly, it helped a lot. Now, they had opened me up from the knee to the hip so they could get at the complete leg. They also opened a hole up at the top of my ass where they drilled a hole through the femur bone and ran, I don't know if it was a titanium bar or steel bar or what it was, but they ran a bar down the center. And they told me if it bothers me, they would remove it in time. So I healed up. I could barely walk. I wasn't able to ride a bicycle at all. And that was very depressing. And if you watch some of my videos where you see me walking, you'll notice I'm kind of jerking to one side, and that's because I have an inch off my right leg. So, fast forward, I guess 2 years. And how I found out I had an inch off my leg, I was sitting in a bathtub taking a bath, and I looked down and noticed one leg was shorter than the other when I put my legs together. And I was like, no, is that the reflection of the water? Didn't quite make sense to me. So I went in to see the guy that did the surgery on me, and he measured my legs from the hips down with a tape measure. And it was funny when he said, and he kind of giggled, and he went, I could have swore I did a better job than that. And I'm like, what do you mean better job than that? He says, well, it's true. You're off by an inch. We're going to have to get some special shoes for you. And the insurance company stuff paid for shoes and stuff like that, but they were very uncomfortable to wear. That was life-threatening. That really changed my life is what it did. And it took me, I'd say minimum 4 years to finally start walking again. It was unbelievable how long it took me to heal. Now, one of the biggest problems they had, and I wasn't a very good patient, they'd want to put this block of wood underneath my leg, under my knee, and bend my leg because my leg wasn't bending. It was pretty much healing straight. And nobody could get near me to do it because every time they did, it hurt like hell, so somebody was going to get decked, and that's all there was to it. And I think I was violent in my in my folder for the therapist to see. But the doctor told me I had to bend it no matter what, or I was going to be a cripple the rest of my life. And I says, there's nothing in there I can hurt. He says, there's nothing. I promise. I said, if there's something in there I can hurt, I'm coming back. And I meant I was coming back for him. He says, I give you my word. I said, all right. I went home that night and I bought 3 bottles of whiskey, great big bottles, 40-pounders. And I drank them. Oh, I downed them to the point of almost getting sick. I got my buddies and I said, all right, I put one buddy on each side to hold me up. I put my toe behind me, and I came down on that leg, bending the knee with all my weight. All you could hear was elastic bands going. Shoo, 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 shoo. That was the muscles all being ripped. I hit the ground. I was rolled up into a ball in a fetal position, literally crying. I was down there for over an hour. My buddies kept going, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. Just leave me a bit. Just leave me." It took well over an hour before I could finally get out of that position, and they put me back on the couch. Now, a couple days later, I went to the doctors, and I told them I can now bend my leg, and I told them what happened. He just went, "You're crazy." I says, "Well, you said nothing would happen." I'm not the type of guy that likes to pull the band-aid off slowly. I'm the type of guy that just wants to rip it off, or when you're down at the river, check how warm the water is and dive in. I'm just not that guy. I like everything to be done and over with quickly, if possible, and move on with my life. And because it took so long for me to heal, that was a very depressing time of my life. I had to go back in for them to pull the bar out and remove it from my ass. And they did that. Now my femur bone's going to be hollow. And that took over a year for that to all heal back in. But that time, those 5 years, were life changing for me. And they pretty much almost destroyed my life because I thought I was Evel Knievel. And if you don't know who that is, go look it up. But one mistake. My only regret, I wish I never bought a motorcycle. Wish I never did. So that has actually changed my life. And when I go hiking or when I do any form of heavy duty walking, it slows me down. And a lot of times I need to stop and I need to take a break. There's nothing I can do about it. And when I tell everybody to keep moving, I mean it. But it's actually twice as hard on me when I'm doing it to get the job done. Don't buy a motorcycle. I'll catch you guys on the next one.